so I was looking online at some of these parts. Now that regulator I was showing you, at least on the site I was looking at, and it's probably universal. If they can't get it, nobody can. Regulator is unavailable. This little bracket and this rubber thing is unavailable. The module, the little thing that fits into this hole, is available. And the solenoid is not available. So it's worth more probably to me in pieces than it is to put back together as a scoot, but I'll go ahead and do that anyway, unless I can't get the engine running. So let me go ahead and open up my jar of petroleum jelly. I've been looking at some of the videos and I hadn't been doing anything, just showing you the after effects. So now I've had this trick. I've used mineral oil and petroleum jelly on the gaskets on my boat hatches to keep the rubber supple. And I had some old rocket boxes years ago. I still got them. When I was into kayaking and all that kind of stuff, I was going to get my own raft, and which I never did. So, but on the rocket box gaskets, they were really hardened up. So I just kept putting mineral spirits to them. Petroleum jelly would work the same way, and gradually they got their suppleness. Yeah, they became, you know, rubbery again. So, and now that I've got this all lubed up, it will. Because the thing I don't want to do is have it be so old and out of shape, or lost its resilience, its stretchability, that when I stick the control module, is basically what that black box is, into this thing, that I rip it out. So, and then we'll, I think we'll set up and add the regulator and some of the other things to it, and then we'll do the. I held up the radiator headlight assembly to the frame, and it's all kind of caught back and in the direction that the hit was in. So in order to get it straight or correct, I'm going to have to completely disassemble the frame that holds all those things. We'll show you that. Well, I disassembled the speedometer housing. This goes over here, and I had a conundrum when I was trying to get this thing, because I saw dust in here and I wanted to clean it off, but getting the little cap that pushes the reset button on the mileage, and it goes through a little gasket here, and I didn't know exactly what it was, but it's a slip off. So remember that. It slips onto this little tab right there. And I took, this was full of bugs and dust and everything, so it's been washed down, soaked and washed and dipped, and now it'll dry off and clean it all up again. And the same with the lens. I need to clean it on the inside and blow out any dust and whatever, and then take a light little brush and blow out the inside of the speedometer. Yeah, there's dust all over the inside. You got into everything. Okay. Well, the more I worked on it, the more it came apart. So I've got the basic unit all cleaned out inside, the dial cleaned off, and then there's the plate that went over the front of it. It came off, and then the gasket that went between this and this part, and then this, the housing that it all fits in, that sits on the handlebars, because there's the hole for the what the hell would it be, the high-low, I guess. Yeah, lights, high-low goes through here, and the kill switch goes on this side. So let me dry some more of this stuff off, and we'll come back as I put it together. I was getting ready to reassemble everything, and then I noticed down here there's a little push button, and it goes to a little mechanical wheel in behind that the engine oil thing here is a mechanical driving. It must go red when enough mileage. And so I was like, oh God, there's a little thing that goes in here, but then I saw that there's a little rubber diaphragm back in here that I guess you use a screwdriver in when you change the oil. So I was looking all over the place for the something I thought would fit in there. So I guess I'll go ahead and set that back on. Gee, that's all nice and clear now. Oops. Not really. You get this back in. This is the first bezel. Get that in there. And then this goes over the top. And this is the gasket. It's got the little inserts in here and a ridge that fits around everything. So this is the part that keeps everything, I guess, waterproof. And once I get the screws in, this is the little guy I told you about, and that just slips right on there. So now I can put these guys back in and tighten it down. And then now we have a nice clean, look at that, isn't that pretty? Nice clean. Inside and out. Okay, I'm going to do that off of camera. Also wanted to mention on the putting this back in, there's a little light down in here. This thing right there, which must be a brake light or something. Let me go ahead and stick it back in. We'll come back. It's all back together and all cleaned up inside and out and behind and debugged, de-dusted. Let's start taking apart the radiator. I guess the best way to take this apart is in units and then bust the units down into subunits to clean. And I think I should be able to take these two nuts here and this whole thing will come out. So let me go ahead and do that. And I was correct, there was a couple 10mm nuts on the side that held it in place. And you remember watching enough of my T-Max movies, any bolts that went with a part, they get stuck with that part. So there's no question. I'm going to have to sand a lot of these things down and prime them and paint them and come back up again. So, what else next? Just the horn bracket comes off. I should know better. It's 13mm, which is funny because I had a 5/16 speed nut that drove put the regulator back on, and a little bracket over the top of it, and God, it was a tight fit. So 5/16 is close to something, millimeter wise. Well, I was able to back this clip off and snake this off the radiator because this all goes back in here. And then there's a little projection that sets up on this bolt up here. So I may take, once I get this frame straightened up, I may take it apart. And I think I know where, I said they had that little tube, the mystery tube, I think it goes on the end of this thing. And it's the overflow bleeder that would go down along the front well, the tube, the main tube on the front of the scoot that the forks attached to, and I think it was a dribble line to the ground. So a couple more things, and I wanted to get these radiator screws out, and this number 3 is probably the same thing that you'd use. Well, actually, it's probably a Japanese version, because this one, I looked up, the VIN number is made in Japan, and it has that same head pattern we have when we take off those dang air filter covers on the right-hand side to get to the variator. The ones that always strip out. So that makes short work of those. There. Now I can take the frame and straighten it out. It's kind of warbled in here, twisted off that direction. So that'll be part of another video.